So I just got done watching Snake Eyes, and when I tell you the resemblance to the Charlie Kirk situation has me shocked. The similarities are so uncanny and so specific that you can't even call it a coincidence. So the whole reason why I watched this movie is because a lot of people were talking about it, saying this movie from back in 1998 resembles this whole Charlie Kirk situation, to this conspiracies down to the name of the Secretary of Defense's name was Charles Kirkland. Like what? Like you can't get more specific than that. So that got me very intrigued, and for a while now I wanted to kind of just watch it and do a review. So for me it was a win-win situation. I got to watch an old movie, and I got to watch something that was a pre-prediction. Now, I'm hoping I can put in some clips, but if I can't, I'm going to just edit it and do it the way it needs to be done. But the movie seems prophetic, very prophetic to the situation that is currently going on with Charlie Kirk right now. Let's talk about the plot. For those of you who didn't see the movie, I would suggest you go watch it. It was a good movie. I like Nicolas Cage. I think he's a good actor. And it had Lieutenant Dan in it from Forrest Gump. The movie. Basically, it's this cop. You know, he's kind of like a dirty cop, and it takes place in Atlantic City. So it's a big arena fight at Millennium Stadium. And they're watching this boxing match fight, and the cop is there. This is kind of like a sort of kind of the cops you don't expect much of, and that's Nicolas Cage's character. So Lieutenant Dan, he is like the decorated soldier, and he was the one that allegedly messed up on his line of duty, right? Long story short, Charles Kirkland, the Secretary of Defense, winds up getting shot in the neck. Yes, getting shot in the neck. Crazy. Are trying to figure out what happened, why it happened, and they go from there. Come to find out, Lieutenant Dan, who was the decorated officer, put this whole plan together, and it was an inside job to kill who he was supposed to protect. He was in on, the government was in on the death of defense, and they just go about the movie just trying to figure it out. Eventually, the bad, corrupt cop does turn good, and he figures out that his friend is a dirty cop. Now, what I found interesting too, so I'm going to start off, the name of the movie was Snake Eyes. And when I thought of Snake Eyes, immediately what stuck out to me is back when I had this feeling of just looking at Erica Kirk, was her eyes resembled a serpent. They when you look at them, or when she looks at you, it makes you uneasy. So I'm thinking, oh, Snake Eyes, I can put that to her eyes. But another meaning of Snake Eyes in the movie is, I guess when you roll, I looked it up, when you roll dice and you get 1 and 1, it's kind of like a low play. It's not like a good play. Like you kind of have no room to go anywhere. So it's kind of like you're trapped and you're kind of cornered. Much to work with, basically. So I thought that was an interesting name because it took place in a casino. That's pretty much the synopsis of the movie. So now I'm really going to get into the things that really stood out to me. It kind of was unsettling how spot on they were about this whole... So it kind of reminds me of The Simpsons, right? How many coincidences, how many things are people going to notice, and things that people are going to see before people really start saying like, okay, it's something within this show that is kind of prophetic. So to get into the scenes from the movie, the first thing that automatically stuck out to me was the Secretary of Defense. He was this big public figure at this public place with all these people around watching the fight. Had security and everything like that. But then see him get shot in the neck. And then everyone's running, screaming, you know, as people do, like when there's gunfire. About executioner, they're talking about assassin. Just like you know, how Charlie Kirk was taken out. In the movie, we find out that it's a fixed fight. And I think this has a little bit of foreshadowing because before you learn that it's an inside job, this whole thing was already premeditated. And again, that's what a lot of people are thinking that happened to Charlie Kirk, because it's a lot of unanswered questions that people still have, such as, the bullet, boy get on the roof. How did he do this without this? Like, it has been a lot of things that's been unanswered. You think like, oh, this is a fixed situation. This is a fixed fight, right? Dan, who is the ringleader of the whole operation. Very good. He talks about how, I messed up and everything. He messed up and everything like that. And then he goes to say that the Nicolas Cage's character, oh, I don't want to start saying conspiracies about everything. I don't want people to think that we're crazy or we're whack jobs.
There's 2. Tyler's 3. The drunk who shouted the signal's 4. And whoever was on the other end of that radio was 5. 5 people make a conspiracy, right?
Shit like that. He was all worked up about our missile sales to Israel, and it's conceivable that he found out about the Norfolk test. Go out there and yell conspiracy, it's like waving a lunatic flag.
Like some people online who are toting these conspiracies about the whole Charlie situation. In the scene where Lieutenant Dan was talking about the conspiracies, he mentioned Israel. Now, again, I don't know. I know that America is sending a lot of money to Israel. People have questions about it. I don't know too much about it, so I'm not going to speak on it. How long have we had this issue with Israel? Because again, this was back in 1998. And he's talking about conspiracies. He's talking about Israel. Candace, we're going to bring up Candace. She might not get it all the way right, but it's some things in there that she kind of knew. Okay, it was some things in there that she probably did know. Okay, some things that probably were true, like those text messages. And remember, there were text messages between Charlie and Candace talking about something about Israel. He was asking too many questions about Israel. So, and their whole plot in the movie, the reason why the Secretary of Defense Charles Kirkland out was because they were talking about a missile mission, and it was the whistleblower that came out. So now, during the fixed fight, there was a couple of plants that they had in the arena. It was this one character, and he was screaming. The fighter that was going to throw the fight, different things to let him know to, like, okay, let him hit you here or fall back here or do this now, right? But he also was signaling to the assassin. And a lot of people have been saying with the whole, on the Charlie Kirk side now of it, that there were plants that gave the signal to the alleged assassin. And there was certain people in there that didn't really act as should when it was when it's a tragedy. So also, further in, could have been set up. This could have been a setup, could have been an inside job. Nothing is so far-fetched. You never know. But they also talk about important documents being compromised, what the truth was, showing what was really happening. And I think that kind of can correlate with the whole TPUSA thing. TPUSA probably was bringing in a lot of money. And, with Candace Owens kind of exposing what was going on with Charlie Kirk, he probably was a turning point from maybe possibly what it was, maybe. I don't know. So at the end of the movie, he puts all this together. He sees that everybody is, in on this situation, and he's the only one that's being left out because they didn't think that he would even figure out what's going on. Saves the whistleblower. And the call comes in from Lieutenant Dan saying that Charles Kirkland has passed away at 10:48 p.m. And, they find out again, they find out he did it, and he doesn't get away with it. He ends up, I think, shooting him. Yeah, he ends up shooting himself. So, what can we conclude from watching this? We can conclude that, one, there are no coincidences, and two, there is definitely something that is more meets the eye, definitely, with this Charlie Kirk situation, because a lot of things just are not adding up. A lot of things are just not making sense. And I love a good conspiracy, right? A good conspiracy. But this has to be one that is so blatant. Even people who don't even pay attention, right? That something deeper is definitely going on. And I think this movie has been resurfacing to just open people's eyes to the situation. People crazy. You can call people like, oh, you look too much into stuff. No. Yes, that's really it for my movie review for Snake Eyes. The similarities were very, very interesting. Jaw-droppingly interesting. I would say, yeah, if you have time, definitely go check it out. It was a good little watch. So that'll be all. Thank you for watching. Bye.